Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is about the history of Domino's Pizza, which is known as one of the largest pizza restaurant chain with $1 billion worth for its empire. But before we get into today's video, to those who are new to this channel, please feel free to click on the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so that you would be notified about the latest updates. So without any delay, let's get right into the video. In 1937, Tom was born on St. Patrick's Day in Ann Arbor, Michigan. At the age of 4, Tom lost his father on Christmas Eve. Without their father around, their mother found it difficult to take care of the boys and sent them to the foster home while she went to the nurse training. She assured her sons that she would return to take them back after she had found a job. At the age of 6, Monaghan entered the St. Joseph's Home for Boys, an orphanage operated by the Roman Catholic Church and the Felician Orders of Nuns in Jackson, Michigan. He developed a close bond with one of the nuns, Sister Berarda. When he was 12, his mother became a nurse and was finally able to take him and his brother back home. Home life in the Monaghan house was not perfect, and the young 6th grader soon began to argue with his mother. Although he was industrious in his new setting, selling vegetables and fish door to door, and newspaper on street corners, his mother was very unhappy with his behavior, and 2 years later placed him in a foster home. Tom began high school at St. Francis High School in Traverse City and decided during his freshman year that he wanted to become a priest. He soon entered the St. Joseph's Seminary in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Monaghan was too active, however, he broke too many rules, and was kicked out of the seminary in less than a year. Following this setback, Monaghan soon returned to his mother's home in St. Francis High School. The problems with his mother continued, and at the age of 16, he was arrested for using his mother's car without her permission. At the age of 17, his mother had him placed in a detention home where he spent 6 months before being released into the care of his aunt and uncle, who took him to live with them in Ann Arbor. Monaghan enrolled at St. Thomas High School but was a poor student and graduated last in his high school class. Monaghan met his future wife while making a pizza delivery. He and Marjorie Zebacken were married on August 25, 1962, and they had 4 daughters. An early admiration for architect Frank Lloyd Wright piqued Monaghan's interest in architecture. But poor grades and his inability to afford tuition fee caused his initial rejection from the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor. Instead, Monaghan enrolled at the architectural trade school at Ferris State College in Michigan and earned tuition fee by working several odd jobs. Monaghan's first year at Ferris State College was very successful, and he hoped his grade would allow him to transfer to the University of Michigan. After forwarding his grades to the University of Michigan, however, he was denied admittance once again. Monaghan was determined to turn his life around and decided to join the U.S. Army in order to take advantage of their educational benefits. After filling out his application, he soon discovered that he had joined the U.S. Marine Corps instead. After basic training, Monaghan was stationed on the island of Okinawa. Monaghan finished his service in the Marine Corps on July 2, 1959, and was finally accepted to the University of Michigan for the fall 1959 term. He worked as a delivery manager for the Washington News Agency to help pay for his tuition fee. Monaghan was not successful as a student and dropped out after only 3 weeks. In 1960, he re-enrolled in the university again for their spring 1960 term, but again, left after only 3 weeks. It seemed as if his dream of becoming an architect was dead, and he was at loss with what to do with his life. In September of 1960, Monaghan's brother James heard that a small pizzeria in Ypsilanti, Michigan named Domi Nick's was for sale by Dominic DeVardi for only $500 and the debts the owner had accumulated. The two brothers agreed to go into business together. Monaghan planned to work in the pizzeria at the night while attending his classes during the daytime, which he had again enrolled in for the fall term. The two brothers gave DiVardi a $75 deposit and took out a loan for the rest from the post office credit union. Monaghan did not feel that Monaghan's Italian pizza sounded right, so the name Domino's Pizza stayed. Before leaving, DiVardi gave the brothers a few lessons in the art of making pizza. Monaghan soon discovered that he liked the physical side of pizza making. He soon hired two unemployed factory workers as delivery men and visited other pizzerias in the area to sample their products. Meanwhile, the Monaghans' partnership was falling apart, because James's job as a mailman kept him from having enough time to devote to the business. After about 8 months, Monaghan bought out his brother's share of the business in exchange for a 1959 Volkswagen Beetle, which they had purchased as a delivery car. Monaghan soon gave up his dream of becoming an architect and devoted his life to his business. By 1961, Domino's had become successful enough to allow his employ his first hourly employees. He took a new partner, Jim Gilmore, and bought a pizzeria in Ypsilanti. In May of 1962, Monaghan and Gilmore opened their third store, Pizza King, on the campus of the University of Michigan. In May of 1963, Monaghan opened a second Ypsilanti pizzeria, and in July 1964 he and Gilmore bought Ann Arbor's leading pizzeria, Pizza from the Prop. In March 1965, Monaghan and Gilmore dissolved their partnership and Gilmore received $20,000 and control over the Pizza King in Ann Arbor. Monaghan retained control of his two Ypsilanti pizzerias and the Pizza from the Prop pizzeria. Monaghan soon began to search for a new name for his pizzerias and settled on the name Domino's Pizza. He also contacted a local advertising executive, Sam Fine, to design a new logo for the company. Fine's resulting design featured a domino with 3 white dots representing Monaghan's 3 pizzerias and is still used today. Monaghan believed that he would be most successful by offering the best tasting pizza in the Ann Arbor, Ypsilanti area. To accomplish this, he set strict guidelines for the ingredients that went into his pizzas. He would use only the freshest toppings and only cheese made with whole milk. He insisted on using only the most expensive flour for his pizza dough, which would be made daily. At the same time, Monaghan eliminated all the other foods from the menu besides pizza, and made his pizzerias takeout or delivery only. He guaranteed a hot pizza at the door within 30 minutes or the pizza would be free. To further motivate his employees, Monaghan began giving bonuses to delivery drivers who collected the most cash. Monaghan soon contacted the Trade Container Company of Detroit to develop the stiff corrugated cardboard box that has become synonymous with home-delivered pizza ever since. In April of 1967, he began franchising Domino's Pizza when he sold his second Ypsilanti store to businessman Chuck Gray. Monaghan had a recipe that worked, a good brand name, and a good logo, and in 1968 he opened his first out-of-state store in Vermont. By January of 1969 he had 12 stores and 12 more in development. He aimed to open 1 new store a week, and in the first 10 months of 1969, he come close to achieving this goal with 32 new stores, bringing the total to 44. But Monaghan's expansion proved to be too much for his bottom line. Because most of his new stores had opened in residential areas, many of them were failing and closed. By the early spring of 1970, he was $1.5 million in debt and faced lawsuits from 150 creditors. He was forced to relinquish 49% of the business to Ypsilanti businessman Kent Hevlin. By May 1, 1970, Monaghan had regained control over his many business misfortunes, and by 1972, he had 54 stores operating. By 1978, he had expanded to 200 stores. In 1997, Domino's operated 4.431 stores in the United States, and its main subsidiary, Domino's Pizza International, had 1,521 units. Sales totaled of $3.2 billion. Monaghan turned his business success into the ownership of a professional sports team. A faithful fan of the Detroit Tigers baseball team, Monaghan realized a childhood dream in 1983 when he purchased the team from John E. Fetzer for $53 million. A year later, Monaghan's Tigers defeated Croc's San Diego Padres to win the 1984 World Series. Monaghan sold the team in 1992 but remains a devoted fan. In 1989, Monaghan shocked the business world by handing over the presidency of Domino's to the former operations vice president, P. David Block. Although he persists in a behind-the-scenes role as the chief executive officer, CEO, of Domino's Pizza Incorporated, he devotes most of his time primarily to activities involving children's-related charities and the Catholic Church. Domino's pizzerias have been at the front of the fast food industry in America for more than a decade. Aside from providing inexpensive and tasty food for millions of people every day, the sheer number of its operations have created jobs for thousands of people, from teenagers delivering the pizzas, to professional business executives managing all levels of this worldwide operation. Since 1989, Monaghan has given back to the community far more than pizza and quick home delivery service. In the service of his church, he has given large sums of money to Legatus, an organization of Catholic executives. He heavily financed the computer system at the Vatican, in Rome, Italy. He funds a Catholic mission in Honduras and has given millions to relief aid, particularly in Latin America. Okay guys, that is all for today's video. Hope you all enjoyed the video. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and click the notification bell to receive the latest update from my channel. See you soon in another interesting video. Bye.